The happiest day of my life turned into a nightmare before I even reached the altar. I was standing in a small room behind the wedding hall, adjusting my tie and trying to calm my nerves. In less than an hour, I was supposed to marry the woman I loved. My phone suddenly vibrated. At first, I ignored it. Then it rang again. And again. Finally, I looked at the screen. It was an email from my company. I smiled, thinking it was probably a congratulations message from my coworkers. Instead, my stomach dropped. The subject line read, "Termination of employment." I stared at the screen, unable to believe what I was reading. After 7 years of loyalty, hard work, and countless late nights, I had just been fired. And the message was signed by only one person, my boss's son, Ryan. Then another message appeared, a text. It simply said, "Consider it my wedding gift to you." My hands started shaking. Why would he do this? And why today? At that moment, I had no idea that a single phone call would change everything. 2. The boss's son. I had worked for Anderson Technologies for 7 years. The company was built by Richard Anderson, a respected businessman who treated employees like family. Richard believed in hard work and fairness. His son Ryan believed in something else entirely: entitlement. Ryan had recently been given a management position despite having very little experience. Everyone knew he only got the job because of his last name. At first, I tried to get along with him. I respected his father and wanted the company to succeed. But Ryan seemed to hate me from the beginning. Whenever I suggested improvements, he dismissed them. Whenever clients praised my work, he looked annoyed. Whenever I received recognition, he acted like I didn't deserve it. I never understood why. Then one day, I learned the truth. Ryan wasn't angry because I was doing a bad job. He was angry because I was doing a better job than him, and that made him feel threatened. 3. A secret grudge. Months before my wedding, the company was preparing for a major contract. The deal was worth millions. I spent weeks leading the project. Late nights, early mornings, endless meetings. When the presentation day arrived, everything went perfectly. The clients loved our proposal. The contract was secured. Everyone celebrated. Everyone except Ryan. A week later, the company newsletter was released. My name appeared on the front page. The project leader, the employee responsible for securing the deal. People congratulated me nonstop. That was when Ryan's attitude became even worse. He stopped inviting me to important meetings. He criticized every decision I made. And whenever nobody else was around, he made sarcastic comments. I tried to ignore it. I thought eventually he'd grow up. I was wrong. He was planning something far worse. I couldn't tell my fiancée. Not yet. She deserved a perfect wedding day, not one ruined by office politics. A few minutes later, Ryan called. Against my better judgment, I answered. He laughed before I could even speak. Surprised, he asked, "What did I do to you?" I said, "You made me look bad," he replied. "You think you're smarter than everyone." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. He continued, "My father likes you too much. I figured it was time someone reminded you who's really in charge." Then he said something I will never forget. "Enjoy your wedding. Unemployment suits you." And he hung up. I sat there in silence. Anger, shock, humiliation. Everything hit me at once. But I didn't know that Ryan had made one massive mistake. He acted without his father's knowledge. 5. The unexpected phone call. About 20 minutes later, my phone rang again. This time, the caller ID showed a different name. Richard Anderson, the company founder. Ryan's father. I answered immediately. His voice sounded confused. "Why are employees telling me you were fired?" I froze. "You don't know?" I asked. There was a long silence. Then he said, "What are you talking about?" I explained everything. The email, the text message, the phone call, all of it. The longer I spoke, the quieter Richard became. Finally, he interrupted me. "Send me screenshots. Right now." I forwarded everything. 5 minutes later, he called back. And he sounded furious. Not at me, at his son. "Don't worry about your job," he said. "I'm handling this personally." Then the call ended. I had no idea what was happening, but for the first time that day, I felt a little hope. 6. The truth comes out. The wedding ceremony went ahead. I smiled. I laughed. I danced. But deep down, I was still worried. The next morning, I received another call from Richard. This time, he invited me to the office. When I arrived, the atmosphere felt completely different. Managers were whispering. Employees looked shocked. Then I learned why. Richard had spent the entire night investigating Ryan's actions. What he found was much worse than anyone expected. Ryan hadn't just targeted me. He had abused his authority for months. He had manipulated reports, ignored company policies, taken credit for other employees' work, and made several unauthorized decisions. My firing wasn't an isolated incident. It was the final piece of a much larger problem. Richard was devastated. His own son had betrayed the company, and everyone who worked there. 7. Justice arrives. Later that afternoon, Richard gathered the entire staff. Everyone filled the conference room. The tension was overwhelming. Then Richard stood at the front. His expression was serious. He spoke for nearly 10 minutes. He talked about integrity, respect, accountability. Then he made the announcement. Ryan was no longer employed by the company. The room became completely silent. Nobody expected it. Not even Ryan. According to rumors, he had spent the morning insisting he had done nothing wrong. But the evidence was undeniable. His actions had finally caught up with him. Richard then turned toward me. In front of everyone, he apologized. He said I had been treated unfairly. He confirmed that my position was secure. And then he surprised me again. I was being promoted. The room erupted with applause. The same day Ryan tried to destroy my career became the day my career moved forward. He looked exhausted. Not because of business, because of family. He admitted that removing his own son had been the hardest decision of his life. But he also knew it was the right one. Character matters more than blood, he said. Those words stayed with me. Ryan believed power gave him control. He thought he could humiliate people without consequences. He thought his family name would protect him forever. Instead, his own actions exposed him. As for me, I returned to work with a new appreciation for life. I had married the woman I loved. I had kept my career. And I had learned something important. Sometimes revenge isn't about hurting someone back. Sometimes revenge is simply allowing the truth to reveal itself. Because when dishonest people think they've won, they often make the mistake that destroys them. Ryan wanted to ruin my wedding day. Instead, he created the moment that ended his own career. And that's a gift he'll never forget.